Well, yes, indeed, and we've got Babajide Ogunsanwo, our data analyst. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
All right, now let's look at this matter. It's got to do with Senator Dino Melaye's situation, his recall specifically. Now, it turned out that eventually, when they went to the polls, there were so many reactions as to the outcome. But let's go down memory lane. You've dug into this. I see you talking about some elections the world will never forget. What did you find when you went into this?
You know, it's to look at, first of all, to look at the outcome, which allows us to really answer the question, who is the most popular between President Buhari, Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State, and Dino Melaye? Which of these three candidates do you think is the most popular? And if, Gimba, if voter turnout can be used as a proxy or as an indicator to determine popularity, then the most popular candidate in Kogi State is Dino Melaye. Now, we can conclude that because let's look at the governorship election that brought in Governor Yahaya Bello. On that day, only 38% of registered voters turned up, less than 40%. Or you may want to look at what happened in 2015. During the presidential election in Kogi State in 2015, less than 50% of registered voters turned out. The exact numbers from INEC, 45% voter turnout for the presidential election. But here's the interesting thing, the incredible thing for Dino Melaye's recall in Kogi West. 52%. The people were so excited that more than half of registered voters turned up.
At what stage was this? For the actual voting or the process of recall?
The process of recall. The number of people that signed the petition. More than half of the people signed the petition in Kogi West. That is incredible. And today, we can easily say, among the top 3 electoral legends in the world, Dino Melaye is now among them. And I'll explain why. Let's look at what has happened in history. 3 critical things. There's an election that's classified as the most unbelievable election. That was in Haiti. Francois Duvalier, known as Papa Doc. He had conducted an election, Chamberlain, in which he scored 1.3 million votes. How many valid votes were there? 0. How many votes did his opponent get? 0. Papa Doc had conducted an election in Haiti where there were no invalid votes. His opponent scored 0, Gimba. Only him had 1.3 million votes. An unbelievable election. And if that makes you laugh, let's look at what happened in Liberia 9 decades ago. An election in 1927 between Charles D.B. King and Thomas Falconer. The election was so unbelievable that the Guinness Book of Records rated it as the most fraudulent election in history. 15,000 registered voters, Gimba. 15,000. Charles D.B. King declared himself winner with 234,000 votes. I thought it's a statement of fact. 15,000 registered voters declared himself winner with 234,000 votes.
What was he thinking?
But again, we should ask ourselves, what are we thinking, especially in Kogi West? During the last senatorial election, Dino Melaye and Smarter DM, the top 2 contenders, between themselves, they had less than 80,000 votes. The total number of voters during the last senatorial election in Nigeria, in Kogi West, was below 180,000. Today, we have over 180,000 people signing the petition. Just think about that for a minute. Indeed, the petition process makes Dino Melaye among these 3 legends. But again, Chamberlain, we also need to look at 3 questions today, and that is, the first is, who wants Dino Melaye out? The second is, why do they want him out? And the real third question is, why did this process fail? And the evidence from INEC clearly shows us that among the 7 local governments in Kogi State, all the local governments, excluding Kababonu, more than half of registered voters within these 6 local governments signed the petition. In Lokoja, 61% of registered voters were alleged to have signed a petition for Dino Melaye to be recalled. That is incredible. So clearly, based on this evidence, we can see almost everybody in Kogi State was said to have requested for, in Kogi West, was said to have requested for the recall of Dino Melaye. So that
why did it fail?
Okay, we'll get to that. At least we've clearly identified who wanted him out. Those that wanted him out. 6 out of 7 local governments, more than half of registered voters had signed a petition. Now, the second question is, before we go into why it failed, is why did they want him out? And it is extremely difficult to answer that. But without doubt, we understand that there's significant tension. There's tension in Kogi West. There's tension in all of Kogi between Governor Yahaya Bello and Senator Dino Melaye. Now, listen carefully to this. As much as it is difficult to find out why exactly they wanted him out, let's profile these two major people. The National Assembly confirms to us that the two youngest senators, Senator Dino Melaye and Senator Sani Mohammed from Niger South. These are the only two senators that were born in 1974. Every other senator, every other 109 members of the Senate are older than Dino Melaye and Senator Sani Mohammed. So Dino, relatively compared to the others in the House, is a young man. Governor Yahaya Bello is also the youngest governor in Nigeria. So we have a fight among the young. And so today, as much as there's a lot of concern that we want younger leaders, that these leaders are creative, we can also see where they're expending their energy. They are creative in fighting.
Even though just doesn't mean that we shouldn't
paint everything with one brush.
No, but you know, it is the fact when the youngest governor is facing
the youngest senator from the same state.
And so we could easily see that there's a problem. Is this inexperience? Is this thirst for power? Is this not knowing how to manage power?